We need to be together and support each other.
Stay safe. May God bless us. May God protect all of us.
We must pay special attention to our elderly, our sick, and our bedridden.
In times like this, let us show concern for each other and be each other's keeper.
It is at this time that our compassion, generosity, and love as a people must be extended to one another, particularly to the vulnerable.
And we go.
Welcome back to Hurricane Watch. My name is Rihani Isidore, and alongside me is Mr. Michael Gasper. You may have noticed we came from an extended break. That was in part to some service disruptions, some technical issues behind the scenes, and of course, as a result of some challenges the service providers currently experience during our broadcast. But we're happy that you have chosen to stay with us, because this is an unfolding situation. This is, of course, Hurricane Watch, and all eyes are on Hurricane Beryl. Unfortunately, it is still a Category 4 weather system. And Michael, in the time we've been off the air, although it's a category storm, as far as St. Lucia's preparedness, some of the updates we received from the Vieux-Fort North MP, the Vieux-Fort South District Disaster Chair, some of it is positive.
Oui, moi d'accord, Riani, nous avons dit merci un peu pour ces gens qui restent, puis nous savons nous tenir un problème technical, et puis délai, Adam, c'était côté, c'était à sous façade, flot, et c'est mon qui a aidé nous, mais quand même ça qui est important, qui problème là résolu, et nous avons dit merci un peu pour ces techniciens qui étaient travaillé assez pour virer, ranger tout le bagage, pour avoir information, pour nous informer à ce ça a passé, mais quand rien n'est tout à l'heure qui la petit woman nous partait à sous internet là, enfin nous partait là, et puis la dernière chaîne développement nous changer peut-être avant nous tenir problème là, nous cyclone, ça c'est Beryl.
Beryl, Hurricane Beryl. I think we've said that name so many times, and the length of time we have been at it, up all night, so that fatigue might be setting in or creeping in. We're keeping it at bay to keep you, the general public, informed as you continue to watch this broadcast. Hurricane Beryl, just to bring you up to speed on where we are. Yes, it's still a hurricane, it's still a major hurricane, but there has been some developments locally. Moments ago, the ENIOC team would have had a meeting. We had a meeting for the latest meteorological or weather update. And it's official as of, officially, as of 10 a.m. this morning, the hurricane warning that was in effect for St. Lucia has been discontinued. So St. Lucia is no longer on a hurricane warning. However, we are going to be, or have been placed on a tropical storm warning. There is a difference. The hurricane storm warning meant that we would have experienced more intense weather situations, higher wind speeds, intense rainfall. The tropical storm warning is slightly less intense. I mean, we're still vulnerable to the wind gusts. Wind speeds are still going to creep up to 73 miles an hour in certain areas, higher gusts of course. The anticipated or projected rainfall has declined nominally. Under the hurricane warning, it was at 6 inches. Now it's hovering between 4 and 5 inches in certain areas. That is a sign of St. Lucia starting to sort of see the light at the end of this Hurricane Beryl tunnel, Gasper.
Oui, il capable comme quoi qui information nous qu'a joindre c'est c'est qui Beryl, et bien cyclone Beryl qui a déstabilisé situation pas mauvais cointé avant, mais ça pas veut dire nous j'ai sorti en danger. Et il est important pour savoir que malgré j'ai baissé il faut passer nous directement qui est nécessaire pour nous ça chaîne puisque avant nous te pour un poste de nous tenir difficulté là c'était un hurricane ça nous a dit un hurricane watch nous te à présent c'est nous ça nous a dit nous te hurricane warning mais à présent nous il descend plus bas pour un tropical storm watch ça veut dire c'est tropical storm warning excusez ça veut dire qui vent avec conditions venir plus à l'aise avec ces pays qui a dit dans situation ça là ça nous a créé tropical storm warning là c'est place comme Martinique Trinidad et puis Sainte-Lucie mais l'autre place comme la Grenade, Barbade, Saint-Vincent et puis Tobago c'est place ça là en mauvaise situation mais nous quand mettre attention pour les humains nous quand mettre attention à sous Sainte-Lucie et puis tropical storm warning là c'est dit qui conditions pas tellement mauvais il plus à l'aise pour manager mais nous pouvons sortir en danger.
Yep, and just to go a little bit further, Gaspar, I'd love for you to just continue that in the Creole language there, just so that our Creole bilingual, Creole language speaking audiences will get a better understanding of the tropical storm warning status that we're in.
Ok, ça veut dire que Alain nous dit tropical storm warning, condition temps à moment ça là, et puis vent et puis la pluie et pas autant mauvais qu'on était si c'était hurricane warning puisque si c'est hurricane ça veut dire vent plus fort plus la pluie avec bail comme ça mais comme il baissé nous quand joindre ces bagages ça là mais pas autant comme si c'était tropical storm hurricane warning mais là aussi ni en l'autre condition nous n'y pouvait ça c'est pour pas ajouter mais bon la mer ça c'est ça nous a créé tropical storm surge avec hier nous t'ai expliqué ça surge là madame là t'ai expliqué qui c'est madame qui a représenté le bureau Meteorological il t'a dit que surge là c'est l'année normale la Mawaï là quand il a dit normal mais en temps mauvais temps cyclone vent qui a halé teasing plus haut avec qui a cause teasing plus dommage puisque la niveau la mer qui a plus haut puisque vent qui a halé et qui a fait un cher dommage.
So there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel where St. Lucia is concerned, but the hazards persist. Tropical storm warnings must be taken seriously. Every precaution must be adhered to. You should remain indoors, remain in place, and St. Lucia, we've been doing well so far. According to Lieutenant Colonel Lucius Lake, adherence, compliance, cooperation in relation to these national shutdowns have been going well. The surveillance teams are not reporting any difficulties or any challenges in the last couple of hours we've been on, and yes, certain or few emergency shelters were activated in the past few hours, but from all indications, people are safe, people are secured, and Hurricane Beryl, as far as its impact on St. Lucia, appears to be, for the time being, minimizing. Okay, and just to get more perspective from what's happening in the various district disaster areas, I think we have on the line as we speak Elisha Clark Malacan, Castries North DDC chair. Can you hear me, Malacan?
Yes, I can. Good morning.
So how are you? Good morning. Gaspar, Malacan, is it still morning? It's been so long.
Hi, I'm not hearing you clearly, yeah?
Yeah. Malacan is having some difficulty hearing. Can you hear me now?
There's an echo.
There's an echo, yes. There is an echo. We are going to try our best to sort of resolve that. But, Mr. Malakan, the best you can.
So what? My zone?
Yes, best you can. Just give us a summary. Bring us up to speed on Castries North from midnight last night to now.
Right. Okay. I really didn't get everything, but from last night up to now, minimum, we had nothing reported. This morning there was some rain. The rain kept coming and stopping, but whenever it started again, it got a little heavier. As of about 15 minutes ago, it started raining a little heavier. Some wind. Throughout the zone, the only reports I got was the loss of internet from Hillcrest Gardens at Mondidor. Carely lost some internet. Well, flow internet at Carely. Basically, that's it. Just wind and just some wind and heavy showers at the moment.
Malakan, as you're saying, it seems to be manageable for the time being, but you and I can appreciate how unpredictable and how quickly storms, hurricanes can change the situation. We're happy to hear that for the time being, or at least over the last 12 hours, it has been fairly smooth sailing. And just to be clear, Gaspar, I think he's saying that none of the emergency shelters in Castries North were activated.
No. Are you asking about emergency shelters? There was no need for activation of any of the shelters at the moment. We did get some calls last night from people who were not feeling safe, but at a meeting earlier, there was sufficient time for relocation. That's why the Prime Minister was asking for people to, if they feel unsafe where they are, if they could go to a family member or a neighbor or something of that nature. Yeah, but there was no immediate need to activate any of our shelters.
Monsieur Malakan, bonjour. Comment vous êtes?
Si je suis au pli meilleur, ça te fait by plaisir pour moi, because je pas jet comme ça autres camarades moi.
Nous regardons en créole, des beaucoup de moi c'est à nous dire c'est
maintenant. Au pli meilleur, nous pli meilleur actuellement. Nous pli meilleur.
Bagay ka marcher et puis.
Eh ben depuis on souhait nous pas tenir rien pour apport. J'ai sorti l'appli, bon matin, l'appli commencé, about 15 minutes passées, nous n'y activons, et l'appli appli fort. Because mon ka di moi yon pour fermer fenêtre actuellement, comme si de l'appli a sorti sur qui ça side soleil couché. Mais c'est ça tout seul, internet t'es à terre pour yon ces providers là, mais il y a vie pour yon des bonnes. So c'est ça tout seul, nous pas ça pas des pièces donc nous pas jouer une pièce ou pas pièce dommage. Nous pas tenir pour ouvrir pièce de shelter. OK? So c'est ça. Nous la catcher nous just nous comment nous ka dire ça? Nous ka garder pour faire comme si c'est juste l'appli manière là. Nous pas avoir plus fort.
Vous dit pour au panier un gros problème.
Pardon?
Voilà. Malakan?
Mariako?
Oui. Vous dit au panier un gros problème, mais peut-être où ça dit nous.
Non, pièce problème. Nous pour actuellement nous all right. Nous pas ni pièce problème actuellement.
Maman de qui manière moun c'est moun ka coopérer pour c'est généralement est-ce moun a sous la oui ka marcher ben rien comme ça.
Non, moi pas jeune rien comme ça, moi ça va carrément mais pas ouais personne ka marcher, machine pas sushi ben comme ça. Moun a dit da yon de moun a dit mais yo la ka break di te kako c'est beke be pensa yoni. Bah c'est ça et ça. Bah personne l'autre même committee pourquoi dis moi about yo ka we moun ka marcher là oui.
C'est bon mais si on n'est plus beke di te kako yo ça mène ici à Adam bah nous hein.
Pourquoi vous voulez OK. Moi naï dio ça, naï passer commission.
Not for
the moment, just we
appreciate power fluctuation. You en a be des fois, mais tout va garder normal actuellement.
Eh bien, merci un peu, monsieur Malakan. Nous apprécions ça un peu avec nous allons continuer du comité pour continuer le travail là et pour Jean Castries North pour continuer coopérer avec faire bagaille marcher assez bien qu'on y a fait à présent. Merci un peu.
Yeah, and
okay, merci, bonne journée. Okay.
Let's get in a final word. Kudos to you for that proactive step with relocating persons who were concerned before the impact of the storm. That was an excellent step, and clearly, given that the situation is under control, there are no major incidents, no concerns, everyone's secure. That has to be commended. Well done to the Castries North DDC.
He's gone.
All
okay.
Right.
Eh bien, à présent, ça nous a fait, moi, ça vous a expliqué un pile, c'est peut-être ça, c'est là pour nous coûter tant différents rapports qui, au pays, en tout petit coin, si vous attendez nous bien, avec vous voulez nous un rapport, ou ça criez nous à numéro 488 4675. Je vais répéter, 488 4675. Criez-nous pour nous un rapport à ce qui manière situation est côté où est.
Yep. Feel free, give us a call 488-4675. Call the broadcast. This is Hurricane Watch. We're live broadcasting from the NEMO Secretariat. Moments ago at 10 a.m., the Met Services has changed St. Lucia's status from hurricane warning down to a tropical storm warning. This is a positive development, although we know it's a fluid situation. Hurricane storms can intensify and change quickly. For the time being, we're at tropical warning status. And Gaspar, I think we have our first caller on the line. Good morning, Hurricane Watch.
Hey, good morning, Rihanna.
Vance Pilgrim, I'm told it's Vance Pilgrim. I believe that's the DDC for Gros Islet, if I'm not mistaken. Vance, if you're on the line, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm Rihanna and Mr. Gaspar.
Yep. Whilst we try to get Vance on the line, just a reminder, we'll keep the number on the screen. If you have issues in your area, or if you have anything to report, you can give us a call. Vance, I'm being told Vance Pilgrim can hear us now. Vance, are you there? Are you there? Oh, no Vance? Okay. We'll rectify that momentarily. The lines remain open, St. Lucia. Let us know what's happening in your community, in your constituency, in your neighborhood. We are aware from early on in the day that power outages affected many communities. Gaspar and Lucilec, as far as we know, is working. We'll try to get those services, the electricity supply, back on track, as well as flow. We spoke with them earlier.
Quand M. Malakan nous a apporté nous tout à l'heure, on est place en Carélie, il dit avec un Hillcrest, ça c'est un Castries North qui a apporté un problème et puis Internet, nous avons qui flow qui a coûté et qui a rangé situation.
Michael, I think we have
Mr. Pilgrim.
Mr. Pilgrim, cat and mouse, or is it the service that is fluctuating? Producers, do we have Mr. Pilgrim?
Go ahead.
Can you hear us, Mr. Pilgrim? Are you there?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, great. Wonderful, sir. How are you and how is Gros Islet over the last several hours?
Well, I'm fine. I'm fine. And Gros Islet has been inundated with a lot of heavy showers and gusty winds. Reports out of the zonal areas indicate that they're having the same problem of heavy rains, gusty winds, and there was a little problem at the back of the Roman Catholic Church where the drain has always been overflowing and flooding the area. It did happen this morning, but it was cleared by residents. So far, we haven't heard anything catastrophic coming from any of my leaders, and I'm waiting just for the Met Office to declare that the tropical storm warnings are over, so that we can go out and do the initial damage assessment and send the reports to NEMO.
Any need for the activation of emergency shelters anywhere in Gros Islet?
I have not heard any reports of anybody seeking a shelter, but I know from last night I got a report from Moshi where a family of a lady and 3 kids appeared at the Moshi school. The principal there decided that since the family said that they were not feeling too safe, allowed them to use a school classroom for the time being. And from what I understood this morning, they out of the shelter. It was really some emergency room for them to shelter during the course of the night, and not really sheltering and to get any food or clothing or anything like that.
Well, Gaspar, that situation seemed to have worked out smoothly for Mr. Pilgrim and the DDC in Gros Islet.
Like no. Mr. Pilgrim must have parlé, ou ça parle créole, ben nous anti
no. Why you put you on a spot there, you know.
Okay, it's not a problem. We can speak English.
Yes,
Okay, you were telling us about the flooding in Gros Islet, but we're particularly happy though that Gros Islet, being such a wide, large constituency, is able to fall under proper management, it seems.
Say that again, I'm not hearing too well.
We're commending you for the management of the Gros Islet constituency disaster committee, because you have no major reports coming from you, knowing that Gros Islet is such a huge constituency with so many people to manage. How is it faring out?
Boy, so you're so muffled there. I really can't understand what you're telling me. So, but I would love you to repeat it. I have to be a little more audible.
Can you hear me, Vance?
Yeah, I can hear you a bit now, yeah.
Vance, we're happy to hear that Gros Islet has largely been incident-free. Can you give us some more details about the flooding after or in the vicinity of the Roman Catholic Church? How did the residents resolve that situation?
Oh, yeah, that's what I said. They came out because, you know, that place was in a flood-prone area. We always had problems there with the river backing up towards the cemetery road. So the residents realized that it could be a danger to them. Water could have gone into their homes, and some form of electrocution could have taken place. So they came out in droves, and they decided to clear the blockage which was there, and the water is now flowing freely into the bay in Gros Islet.
Differently abled or elderly who may have the vulnerable people in Gros Islet, did you make any contact with those individuals? How did they write it out, or how are they?
Last night we made a few contacts with certain people, but they decided that they'll probably go by relatives instead of going to any shelter.
Generally, Vance Pilgrim, your assessment of Gros Islet's response to Hurricane Beryl, the advisories, how well did Gros Islet do by your estimation?
Well, as I tell you, I don't know. It's so difficult to hear you all, you know. I don't know what's the reason for that.
You're working on the audio issues, Vance. I appreciate you. Hang in there. Gros Islet appears to have been. They did well.
Yes,
responding promptly, dealing with potential flooding. It's Gros Islet, like so many of the other DDCs. Where there are minor hiccups, you know, people are secure. People are staying safe.
Excessivement de weapons puisque nous savons Gros Islet c'est un place qui goin en pile puisque 25.
I'm still on the line, you know. I don't know what you're doing.
That can be a challenge.
Goin place bonnement c'est raison qui fait nous devons féliciter yo pour le management Gros Islet. Nous savons les autres c'est comme oui on y travaille pour faire mais pas autant goin qu'on Gozile. Alors nous bien contents qui Gozile situation Gozile qu'a managé malgré il dit il rapporter qu'il a un problème et puis Godlo par passer place l'église catholique là il dit là toujours gagné Godlo mais quand même est important il aussi dit que c'est Jean Place là résident c'est pour nous venir ensemble et nous toujours qu'à encourager qualité bail ça là nous qu'à féliciter Jean Gozile pour prendre responsabilité avec venir ensemble.
It's really echoing the Prime Minister's sentiments. I believe Vance Pilgrim may still be on the line. If you're hearing me, Vance, you have an opportunity to share your final remarks if you have any.
Say again?
Rosalie doing, Vance?
Yeah, they so far everything seems to be all right. As I said earlier on, that as soon as we get the all clear from the Met Office, we'll go out into the areas and set up the EOC properly, and then see exactly what's transpiring in the whole constituency. I've not heard anything from La Bonne or Deramo, but I'm hoping to get some reports pretty soon. Okay, thank you very much.
Parler de situation en bas contrôle, tout bagay bon, et qui aussi nous étions de Castries Central et puis Monsieur Davis Paul qui va apporter tout bagay bon. Alors, ni à présent nous t'en Gozile, nous t'en encourager les autres, c'est comme là, et bien c'est même pas la main, n'importe monde qui s'accueille nous avec nous un rapport à ce conditions yo situation yo nous apprécier ça un peu.
Yeah, no doubt parliamentary reps and other disaster officials are continuing to work behind the scenes to make sure everything runs smoothly, and it is just it's a good relief to know that there has been no major incidents ever since we started the broadcast throughout the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Lieutenant Colonel Lake in our last conversation earlier today indicated that the cooperation with the public has been almost seamless. Adherence to the guidance is 9 out of 10 thereabout. I think we have a caller on the line. Can you hear me, caller? We're about to speak to, or we are speaking with Osbert Regis, Denry South, DDC. Mr. Regis, can you hear me?
WhatsApp, le courrier, nous encourager ces appels-là.
Can you hear us, Mr. Regis? This is Rihanni Isidore alongside Michael Gasper.
Okay,
can you hear us?
Good morning. I'm getting some feedback from you guys.
Mr. Regis, we just want a summary on how Denry North is faring. If you can hear us, go ahead and tell us what's happening in Denry North over the last 12 hours.
Okay, you have me too high up. I'm Denry South. Okay, but I'm getting some feedback from you guys. But just to give you a basic idea, that we've not had any report of damage. We are, as a committee, on standby. We had a pre-strike meeting yesterday with the stakeholders at the fire station. And the policy is that we are going to stay put until the all clear has been given, which is NEMO's policy. We will not go out in the community doing assessments before the all clear has been given. However, because we have telephone lines up and the internet, the community has access to us, so it is not going to be a problem to source any information about any damage. So far, so good. The only report we've had was a tree falling across the road somewhere at Bois Joli. And we have dispatched a team with the fire service and chainsaw to assist. I think they have been also assisted by Mr. Landers, the chairperson of the Denry South Constituency Council, and I think they are on the road. That should have been dealt with. We have all of the boats moved from the shoreline. They had to do that very late on account of the carnival activities that were there. There were a lot of booths placed within the High Street Denry. But well into the evening, they were able to get those boats moved up to the High Street. We've had periodic periods of rain, and what I'm very, very happy about is that the rain comes for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then it stops, which allows the water to flow without the village being flooded. So far, so good. From our end, we are hoping that it continues that way by God's grace.
Monsieur Regis, moi suppose au Gaëtan, Gaspard qui est là présent.
Oui, ma bien voir
ça. Moi bien content. Ou rapport ça là au nous, puisque nous toujours concernés et puis Denry, comme nous savons, Denry a sur façade soleil levant avec en chaque délai en temps comme ça, Denry c'est dans ces places là qui a joué affecté mauvais. Peut-être tout ça dit nous qui manière autres qu'a senti et puis situation condition ça là à présent.
Oui, comme on dit là, Denry toujours qu'à propre avant. Because c'est nous qui avons la mer à Atlantique là. La mer à manière mauvaise, mais il peut pas tuer à la manière qui a affecté nous directement. Là nous voit, mais comment nous pouvons une pièce ou from pièce moun qui dit qu'il a affecté bagay ko haso. Là il y a une publication, nous pouvons ça mais va à la manière, moi, hope that bagay pas affecté qu'on dernier l'année passée Brett. L'année passée Brett banon en chaque coup il est tout bail à terre, tout bail, il tue tout bagay. Moi vraiment pourquoi mauvais qu'on Brett, moi il pas arrivé quoi because ça qu'a fait deuxième l'année nous va affecter. So pour le présent, moi ça dit que nous pas de pièces ou apport dommage, nous still ni lumière, nous still ni internet, so nous bon pour le présent.
Ça bon tout bonnement qui la pour qualité ou apport ça là, mais nous aussi concernés, est-ce l'année personne qui peut-être aller en ces places là côté il y a une sécurité shelter qu'on nous a dit, est-ce une situation comme ça?
Non, nous pouvons ouvrir pièce shelter parce que ça nous a encouragé mon en ville là that si nous pour ouvrir pièce shelter ça c'est que dernier result. Nous a encouragé mon chercher shelter from Anja, from a famille à Baïgoham, because it's difficile pour ouvrir shelter, especially les bails là à commencer, right? Because ça nous ne pouvons comprendre that c'est volontaire nous n'y a. Les bails commencer, nous pas qu'à dehors, vous comprenez? So, les bails là a commencé, c'est difficile. So, nous allons encourager les gens pour acheter côté la famille, acheter des bails. C'est difficile de les pour ouvrir, de les yon des gens en shelter. Comme ça bring. So, nous pouvons une pièce ou apport dat moun besoin comme ça. L'année c'est un monde qui a signé. But nous pouvons une pièce ou apport. Et moi, je voulais prendre l'opportunité là pour encourager mon, especially si la Niger Denry qui a coûté. Bagay là pour passer. Même si vent ka wabati délai, nous pouvons ni all clear. Bon, Denry South côté qui a chaque pack galvanise. C'est vieux pack ça, c'est pas c'est vieux pack, c'est pack là qui est vieux galvanise là. Adam ça pas bien caché. Et si va monter, ça c'est un problème. So moi voulais encourager mon ouété caillou, il pas ni l'école, il pas ni travail, ouété un caillou until ou hen all clear. Moi ça l'année quand il va tellement il va créer disaster tourism. Tout le monde voulait aller ça qui fait de l'autre côté. Ouété caillou. So moi hope moun comprendre ça. Mata parle about l'autre côté, but n'a pas about Denry. L'année c'est à côté, l'année plus pas galvanise parce que l'année galvanise à la tête caïmoun. So please pour caution.
Right, Mr. Regis. On that note, where compliance is concerned, we know the Prime Minister, the authorities issued a national shutdown, advised people to stay indoors. What's your assessment on Denry South's cooperation with these guidance?
I went through the village about after 11. And the fishermen were still on at it because of the circumstances where the booths were occupying the places that they normally put their boat. But generally, I think they complied. As a matter of fact, the carnival activities, which was scheduled to shut down at 6:30, I think from the PM's address, the shutdown notice, and everybody who has a smartphone saw it is category 4, it's so on and so on. So I think that sort of shift the attitude towards the storm. So people left early. Yeah, although a few youngsters were around, still enjoying themselves after 6. Some of them a little busy and delightful still, which is not where you want to be hours before a storm. But I'm hoping, generally, yes, there was compliance. There would always be a few people who are defiant, but generally it's okay. It was okay.
Well, and knowing that there was no incidents during the passage of Hurricane Beryl, and everyone, as you indicated, who are accounted for and are safe and secure. That's the most we could have asked for, and we have it. Where Denry South is concerned, a few other constituencies are also okay, just as well as you. Thank you so much, Mr. Regis, for giving us that update. Do hang in there. You are fully aware that the all clear has not been given, so of course continue to advise members of the Denry South constituents to just hang in there. A little ways to go before that all clear is eventually issued. Thank you again, Mr. Osbert Regis.
Merci. Well, thank you very much. Anytime. All right, merci. Wow.
Eh bien, bon rapport, tout bonnement. En plus important, c'est que moun ka coopérer. Nous ka joindre ça tout partout, moun ka coopérer avec Mr. Regis fait nous savent l'année en situation Denry et qui vertissait Jean Denry, particulièrement en village Denry, c'est mon qui n'y a chez Bawad et bien am galvanise et que c'est situation comme ça quand il cause et puis vent il plus à l'aise pour
it could be dangerous, turn into projectiles.
Exactement.
But that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case.
Alors il dit merci un peu avec nous bien content pour ça.
Yeah, we have another DDC chairperson on the line. I hope she is still with us. Sarah Jules Babono. Are you with us? Can you hear me?
I can hear you not clearly, but
all right, Sarah. I'll do my best, and maybe you do yours, so we can try to get an update from you and just update the general public. How are you, Sarah? And how is Babono?
Well, according to what I can see by my area, we are very windy, a little rain, but nothing much, and there is no electricity.
In your area, where exactly is that area?
That's Bavono proper.
Bavono proper.
I cannot get information from the other areas because the network is not working.
Yeah. So, without power, is it your internet provider, the service is a little spotty. So I guess you'd be relying on your mobile data to pay attention to this broadcast?
Even my mobile data is giving a little problem sometimes.
Yep. And well, these things are not uncommon, especially during the passage of major
because
weather
I am calling
systems.
From my personal phone because on when I call, the call not go through.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm Sarah Ola. Sarah.
Hello.
Bonjour, comment vous allez? Gaspard qui là?
Oh, hi Mike, so what's up?
Moi là, moi connais Sarah assez bien. J'aime Babono pour moi-même. C'est pas aujourd'hui Sarah qui a fait.
So, oublie-moi parler pas toi, Michael.
Alors Sarah, bien, moi ça Sarah, c'est yon c'est mon qui exact connaître ça il a fait. Ça, ou te capable nous apporter anglais. Sarah, ou dit nous qui l'année il y a vent, teasing la pluie, mais pas tellement conditions pas tellement mauvais. C'est ça ou dire?
Non, il pas tellement mauvais beaucoup moins. Tel bagay qui pas travail là, c'est pas ni light, pas ni courant. Moi, upon you dit that transformer are pretty say what they call secondary. So, I have to look at the information.
Ok, ça avec Lucilec, l'imo Lucilec c'est 4-5D, D yon 6-5 pour les gens qui en notre pays, 4-5D, D yon 6-5 pour apporter problème qu'on a dit avec en sous pays c'est 4-5-4, 6 yon 7 en sous pays. Mais à part de ça, mais ça vous en mi-temps ville Babono à sous la là sorti bon l'école secondaire privée beaucoup à plat là c'est en ouais ça là et quoi mi-temps vent vrai.
Oui.
So
mi-temps vent mais va cool down a teasing actuellement. Et nous pouvons ni la pluie actuellement.
So la pani pièce ou rapport à sur vos 10 gars, Wana, Jeff, à ça, pièce l'autre place?
Moi pas ça doit y avoir là because personne là pour crier moi.
OK. Eh bien, nous quand nous rapport ça là. Excusez?
When they say because network like about so report.
Ok, eh bien Sarah, merci un peu. Et puis nous espérons que tout le bagage a marché bien.
Oh yes, on hope tout le bagage commence à marcher bien et que c'est quoi.
Ok, merci un peu Sarah Jules, car nous avons Hod Babono avec quand dit plus gros problème dans Yoni là c'est internet et puis moi quoi c'est courant électrique.
Not unusual. I mean these things will happen. Especially when you have the passage of strong storms like Hurricane Beryl. And Michael, as you were speaking with Sarah Jules, an update from the National Hurricane Center in relation to the passage of Hurricane Beryl. It is moving over Carriacou Island as a category, a major hurricane. It is still at major hurricane strength. and it's currently moving over Carriacou Island. That's in the Grenadines, if I'm not mistaken. That weather report or update comes from the National Hurricane Center at about 11 a.m. just minutes ago. Hurricane Beryl now is starting to move over. The eye of Beryl, the core of Beryl, is moving over the Grenadine Islands, Carriacou in the direct line of sight. So we want to spare a thought for the residents of the Grenadine Islands and of course the residents of Grenada. Maximum sustained winds associated with Hurricane Beryl are at 140 miles per hour. That speed can cause catastrophic and of course catastrophic damage, and it can threaten lives in those islands. So it is fairly serious, I would say, in the Grenadines and Grenada at this particular hour. So we'd want to spare a thought for our brothers and sisters, our Caribbean neighbors, our Windward Island neighbors. They are not as fortunate as St. Lucia. They are now experiencing the brunt, Michael, the brunt of Hurricane Beryl.
Ça m'a trouvé qui est intéressant, Riani, ou qui est fairly serious.
Well,
ça c'est dangereux tout bonnement. Yon 140 liés par du temps. Nous t'ai parlé plus bonnet, ça c'est la Grenade. Ça c'est ce petit pays la Grenade là, entre la Grenade et puis Saint-Vincent. Ces places là, c'est exactement côté à présent. Ça c'est bon 11 de ça c'était 11 o'clock.
We are 11 a.m. just 15 minutes ago, and I guess who feels it knows it. Fairly severe. No, it's more that they may have a different way to describe what's happening on their island as we speak. But yeah, so we encourage the general public to just keep the Grenadine Islands, keep Grenada in your thoughts. This is going to be a difficult few hours for them as they encounter and deal with the brunt of Hurricane Beryl. We do have someone on the line, Castries Central DDC chair. Can you hear me? Can you?
Okay. Pas de temps nous allons espérer un monde qui en mi-temps vite Castries qu'a fait un rapport ben nous est-ce que attendons? Good morning. Well,
it's still morning.
Yes, it's still morning.
Doesn't feel like it.
Good morning, Castries Central.
Yeah, I'm there. It was a great.
I think we lost that call. We'll try to re-establish contact with the Castries Central. I think it was the DDC chair.
Yeah.
We'll try to re-establish contact with Castries Central. Castries Central, in particular areas known for it's flood prone. The market area, Jeremy Street area, moving inwards to the Block X area, as it is famously known. That location, these locations, when there's downpours, they tend to flood fairly easily. I also, further to that, we know the CCC was engaged to mobilize some of the homeless and transfer them to a safe and secure temporary facility. So Castries Central would be in a position, we would imagine, to give us an update on how Castries Central fared over the last few hours. But when we spoke to Lieutenant Colonel Lake, he expressed or explained that as far as the homeless are concerned, they are okay, tucked away nicely on the VG Sports Complex. Hopefully we'll get an update from the Central Castries DDC momentarily. But going through the list, Gros Islet, Vieux North and South, Babono, Denry South, everyone seems to be in a safe place. Everything seems to be under control, Gaspar. And I mean that's the best thing you would hope for, you would want, given the circumstances where Hurricane Beryl is concerned.
D'accord. Nous avons un rapport ces différentes places là. Et nous bien contents ça. Quand Rianidou, nous avons un rapport, nous j'attends un rapport hot Gros Islet, nous attendons un rapport à sous sa capacité en sud Denry, ça c'est un village Denry même. Nous avons un rapport plus bon à hot Vieux Fort. Aussi nous détenons à pour même parlement pour ça c'est pour Vieux-Fort Nord, ça c'est honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste, il était parlé de nous aussi, et puis Babono parlait de nous aussi. Avec à présent nous monsieur Marvin Joseph,
Castries South.
Sud Castries, ça c'est
DDC
c'est lui qui est chairman conseil des as place là. Peut-être nous ça parler, mais ça aussi qu'à comprendre créole, mais bonjour monsieur Marvin Joseph, good day to you. Can you hear me? Mr. Marvin Joseph. Good morning, Mr. Joseph. Marvin.
Marvin Joseph, you there? Castries
South? Yes, I'm there. I can't hear Michael Polito.
Maybe he just politely tries to say he can't stand the Creole. Okay, Marvin Charles, Castries South. Bexar, famous area. I beg your pardon, Castries South. The sleep is creeping up from behind my neck. Yes. Do forgive me, viewers, Mr. Joseph. How is Castries South as of 11:19 a.m. today? Marvin Charles, are you with us?
So Castries South, we have not had any major issues in Castries South. I have spoken to Minister Hilaire also to find out if anybody reported to him. He has not gotten any major issues. Only last evening I had some residents from Monkey Tongue who asked for the shelter to be open. However, we were just monitoring what was happening before we do so, and at the end we did not, so they were a little safe. I have spoken to my team in Latok. There's no electricity in Latok. Marico, Basse Joseph, Goodland, Fuasho, most of our areas are safe for now. So we are very happy to report that Castries South only got some rain, wind, but no major issues in Castries South.
Marvin Joseph, any need to activate emergency shelters or transfer persons who may have been at risk?
We had nobody transferred to the shelters. The shelters were all prepared and ready to accommodate anybody who would have needed. However, we had nobody needing to be at the shelters, so that was very good for us.
Excellent stuff. Well, Mr. Joseph, you may be aware that the St. Lucia is currently, we're no longer on a hurricane warning, and now it's downgraded to a tropical storm warning. So there's some light at the end of the tunnel for Castries South and St. Lucia by extension. I think we'll end it here. Thank you for that critical update. Hopefully we may hear from you down the road as the broadcast progresses. But for the time being, folks, we've gotten some update from various district disaster committee officials. We'll continue that after after this upcoming break. Stay with us. This is Hurricane Watch.
Thank you.
We need to be together and support each other.
Stay safe. May God bless us. May God protect all of us.
We must pay special attention to our elderly, our sick, and our bedridden.
In times like this, let us show concern for each other and be each other's keeper.
It is at this time that our compassion, generosity, and love as a people must be extended to one another, particularly to the vulnerable.
In this video, you will learn how to prepare and react when faced with a flood. If you receive an alert from the authorities that a flood is incoming, keep all your valuables, important documents, as well as hazardous or toxic substances on an elevated surface as high as possible. Prepare your disaster kit and your first aid kit. Follow authorities' instructions on TV or the radio. When the flood is imminent, close all doors and windows, seal off all low-down gaps or openings in your home as best as you can using cloth or adhesive tape for the window frames. Turn off the gas and electricity supply at the mains. Move to an upper floor if there is one. During the flooding, listen to the radio to keep abreast of the latest developments concerning the current situation and to follow additional advice. Do not go out unless instructed to do so by authorities. If for some reason you have to leave your home, inform your friends and family of your departure and where it is you are going to. Never attempt to cross a flooded area, whether you are on foot or in a car. Stay away from any electrical power lines which have fallen to the ground. Do not wait until the last moment to evacuate if ordered to do so. If you need to drink, make sure the water in question is potable. If the flooding is sudden and you are not alerted, watch out for any messages from authorities, either via radio, mobile phones, or warning sirens. Get to an elevated point away from the water. Signal your location if you are isolated. Do not go and collect your children from school. They are taken care of by teachers who are trained for such events. If you are outdoors, keep away from rivers, rapids, or any other body of water. Get to safety at an elevated point. Remember, cars are not adequate shelters. Here are a few prevention tips. Get informed of the risks in your area and of the related safety measures. Check whether your house is in a flood-prone area. If you live in an area prone to flooding, keep your important documents, valuables, and hazardous products as high as possible. Keep a copy of important documents with your friends or family, or make use of a digital filing service. Keep all electric plugs elevated. If you have children, find out about the measures in place to take care of your children in case of a flood during school hours. If you're differently abled, inform the emergency services. In this video, you'll learn how to prepare for a hurricane or a large storm, and what to do if you find yourself in such a situation. Usually a hurricane is announced in advance in weather reports, so the authorities and the public are informed that a dangerous meteorological event is imminent. If the authorities issue a hurricane warning, prepare a disaster kit and a first aid kit. Put your documents, valuables, and clothes in waterproof bags. Reinforce your doors and windows with wooden panels nailed down if you do not have shutters. Bring inside any object that may be caught up by the wind and become a dangerous projectile. Bring pets indoors and safely house them in their pet carriers. Follow safety instructions on the radio or television. Act quickly if evacuation orders are issued by authorities. During the hurricane, stay inside whenever possible. Unplug all your domestic appliances and switch off the power supply at the mains. Follow safety instructions given on the radio or television. Limit any journeys. If you must go out, be sure to inform family and friends about where you're going. If you're in a car when the hurricane breaks, stop your car far away from trees or electric cables, which could fall on you. Avoid stopping at the bottom of a steep hill or on low ground susceptible to flooding. Stay in your car. In order to minimize the consequences of a hurricane, regularly prune dead branches from trees and cut down any dead trees. If you live in a house, check your roof regularly to ensure it is solid and waterproof. Repair it if necessary.
Create a plan for your home, and don't forget about those who may need assistance during an emergency.
One of the most dangerous parts of a hurricane is storm surge. What is storm surge, you ask? Storm surge is what happens when the winds of a coastal storm push water onto land. In addition, large and destructive waves ride in on the top of the surge. These water surges then wreak havoc and can cause major damage and flooding many miles from the storm. Not limited to coastal properties, storm surges from seawater traveling up streams and rivers can flood inland homes too. And is it strong? Able to carry away cars and demolish entire communities. Storm surge is what officials use when determining who to evacuate. Once water starts to rise, the destructive rush can quickly cover a lot of ground: homes, cars, people, pets. If you get anything from this video, let it be this: when officials say it is time to evacuate, go. Don't fall victim to storm surge.
In this video, you will learn how to prepare and react when faced with a flood. If you receive an alert from the authorities that a flood is incoming, keep all your valuables, important documents, as well as hazardous or toxic substances on an elevated surface as high as possible. Prepare your disaster kit and your first aid kit. Follow authorities' instructions on TV or the radio. When the flood is imminent, close all doors and windows, seal off all low-down gaps or openings in your home as best as you can using cloth or adhesive tape for the window frames. Turn off the gas and electricity supply at the mains. Move to an upper floor if there is one. During the flooding, listen to the radio to keep abreast of the latest developments concerning the current situation and to follow additional advice. Do not go out unless instructed to do so by authorities. If for some reason you have to leave your home, inform your friends and family of your departure and where it is you're going to. Never attempt to cross a flooded area, whether you are on foot or in a car. Stay away from any electrical power lines which have fallen to the ground. Do not wait until the last moment to evacuate if ordered to do so. If you need to drink, make sure the water in question is potable. If the flooding is sudden and you are not alerted, watch out for any messages from authorities, either via radio, mobile phones, or warning sirens. Get to an elevated point away from the water. Signal your location if you are isolated. Do not go and collect your children from school. They are taken care of by teachers who are trained for such events. If you are outdoors, keep away from rivers, rapids, or any other body of water. Get to safety at an elevated point. Remember, cars are not adequate shelters. Here are a few prevention tips. Get informed of the risks in your area and of the related safety measures. Check whether your house is in a flood-prone area. If you live in an area prone to flooding, keep your important documents, valuables, and hazardous products as high as possible. Keep a copy of important documents with your friends or family, or make use of a digital filing service. Keep all electric plugs elevated. If you have children, find out about the measures in place to take care of your children in case of a flood during school hours. If you're differently abled, inform the emergency services.
When the waves swell, the wind blows, and rain starts to pour, you'll ask yourself, how prepared or unprepared are you? Did you board your windows? Protect your home? Secure loose objects so they won't blow away. Bring large items in and low items up. If you're properly prepared, it will help in a big way. Does your family have a plan? Do they know what to do? Is your emergency kit packed, waiting by the door for you? Just because you're not on the coast doesn't mean you're okay. Heavy winds and flooding can wash things away. When a hurricane is near, you need to stay safe. Turn on the radio. Wait for updates. Only leave your home if told so. Grab your bag and go, go, go. Now, if you're home and the heavy wind blows, get away from the windows, watch out for flooding, and protect yourself. You may be without power for a couple days, but your emergency kit should help you to stay. Once the storm is gone and it's safe to go home, be cautious of what's going on. If water's in your path, you have to turn back. Dangerous electricity and things you can't see can hurt you very badly. So before the waves swell, the wind blows, and rain starts to pour, get prepared, make a plan, and protect yourself each and every way.
We need to be together and support each other.
Stay safe. May God bless us. May God protect all of us.
We must pay special attention to our elderly, our sick, and our bedridden.
In times like this, let us show concern for each other and be each other's keeper.
It is at this time that our compassion, generosity, and love as a people must be extended to one another, particularly to the vulnerable.
Welcome back to Hurricane Watch with me. My name is Rihani Isidore. Just to bring you up to speed on where things stand since our last break, at 11 a.m. this morning, the Met Services discontinued the Hurricane Watch for St. Lucia. However, we do remain on a tropical storm watch. That means hurricane-like conditions can still affect the island in the ensuing hours. Tropical storm watches attract sustained wind speeds up to 73 miles an hour. Although the rainfall has been slightly reduced, we can expect up to 4 to 5 inches in certain areas on the island, and the storm surge threat looms large, as well as the potential for mudslides and land slippage. However, over the course of the hour, we heard from various district disaster committees, their officials reporting fairly incident-free situations. A couple of emergency shelters were activated. However, everyone so far at this juncture at 11:38 this morning are safe, sound, and accounted for. And at this point, I'd like to draw your attention to our guests for this part of the broadcast. He is no other than Honorable Philip J. Pierre, the Prime Minister of St. Lucia and the Chair of the NEMAC. I hope I got that right, Mr. Prime Minister. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. How was your night, sir?
Morning, Riani. Good morning. Good morning to all the people of St. Lucia. I know many of you have had sleepless nights. First of all, I really want to thank Riani, you and the whole team, Gwyneth, and the whole team from NTN and the GIS, who've been up all night doing informing people, gospel, informing people. This is really a labor of love. Also, the people who have been at NEMO, at the command center, they've been there for the entire night, and they've been working behind the scenes, trying to keep, I will not mention any names, because if I mention names and miss someone, that would be not acceptable. But they've been working for the entire night. The police who have been out, the doctors and the nurses, people who have left the comfort of their home, and they're out doing a labor of love. It's those who are in the districts, all the disaster committees, again, volunteerism, working for no pay. These people have to be applauded. They're really the unsung heroes, because they're out there whilst we sleep. They're out there working. Those people who are manning the centers, I said the policemen, the nurses, the first responders, the fire service. This is really I want to tell them that I personally, and the government of St. Lucia, appreciates them and sang them from the bottom of my heart. And we hope that someday they can get their reward. So, having said so, I think that the night has not been as disastrous as it could be. I think it's fair to say that. We are still in a storm watch, and we should not get complacent. We cannot get complacent. These things change all the time. Imagine this morning we moved from 3 to 4, and now we're back to 3. So we cannot be complacent. I want to implore all the people of St. Lucia, do not go out and be heroes. There's no need to go to look at a sea swell. There's no need to. I saw a video of some people swimming in some part of the country. Please, that doesn't make any sense. What you do is you put yourself at risk, and you also put the people who have come to save you at risk also. So let's stay home. Let us understand that we are facing a disaster. It is not over yet, but we need to stay home. We need to stay home. We also need to listen to information that comes from the authoritative people, the Met Office and NEMO. No one else can tell you anything else except the people who have the science, the people who've worked on it, the people who've studied it. So our information must come from NEMO and from the Met services. That's where you come from. But so having said so, I want to spare a thought and a prayer for my colleague in Grenada, my colleague, the Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell, and the people of Grenada, also Comrade Ralph Gonzalez in St. Vincent. St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Grenada, we share very close bond. In fact, the Prime Minister of Grenada and myself, we are personal friends. I came in yesterday, I came in on Saturday from Barbados because of him. He's the one who gave me a ride into St. Lucia. I really feel for him. Like me, this is going to be his first crisis, but I'm sure with the resilience of the people of Grenada and the discipline of the people in Grenada, they will survive. We have to try to assist them. The government of St. Lucia will have to try to assist our comrades in Grenada. I'm asking the people of St. Lucia to really begin to think of how we can assist our comrades in Grenada and St. Vincent. I understand the islands of the Grenadines. It's a disaster area. So we've got to be able to help our colleagues, because you never know when the hour cometh. In this world of climate change, we never know when the hour cometh. And I want to also tell St. Lucians that we mustn't believe that because there wasn't the disaster that we thought would happen, that we are out of the. We're not. We barely into July, and we are B. Can you imagine what's happening? The season comes from June to October.
June to November.
And then we're speaking about category 3 and category 4 in the month of July. This is serious stuff.
It's unusual for June. If I would jump in here, Prime Minister, anyone who pays attention to your speeches, especially when you talk about climate change, these hurricane situations is something that you fret. You've made it clear that any development gains can be wiped out, you've said so repeatedly, in the blink of an eye, over the course of a short space of hours. Is this now yet another opportunity for St. Lucians, the general public, to pay closer attention to these kinds of threat, climate change, etc.? I know you're the CARICOM lead for climate change.
And really, you're very right. In fact, I've said, and you just said it correctly, this is one of the things I lose sleep over: the fear of a hurricane, an earthquake, or natural disaster wiping all the gains. And if there's one thing that the country should get together on, it's over natural disasters. We should get together. There is no need for us to play one-upmanship or political games or misinformation, hoping we can score some points when it comes to disaster. Because no government can control it, no prime minister can control it, and we have to ensure that the country stays together, if only to deal with matters of natural disasters. Yeah. We are in July, and we're speaking about a Cat 3 and 4. We're in July, so.
And actually, Prime Minister, I think you were scheduled to be in Grenada
for the heads
this week
for the heads of government conference. Yes.
There would have been some meetings concerning climate change, and here we are with this actual example manifesting before us. Prime Minister, you would have chaired some of the NEMAC meetings over the past couple of days. I mean, we appear to be moving into some daylight space as the storm moves away. What's your assessment on St. Lucia's preparedness over the last couple of days?
Well, as I said earlier on, I want to compliment the folks at NEMAC for what they're doing with the resources that they have. But I want to speak generally to the people of St. Lucia. There are very simple mitigation things we can do. Very simple. And we said so over and over again. You cannot stop. There are things you can't control. But there are simple mitigation things you can do. Basically, buying guttering on your roof. We can do it piece by piece. Mm-hmm. We can avoid, or we can forego some expenditure to buy a piece of guttering. Guttering, that is basic. We should try to see if we can get guttering around our houses. While we're doing that, we can harvest water.
Rainwater harvesting. Yeah.
That would help in many, many instances.
Especially given the water supply issues.
Exactly. Landslides, etc. We'll get some support, some help. We'll mitigate that against that. We can make sure that when we check our roofs, go up there and get some nails on the roof, little things we can do. That may not stop it, but
it can mitigate mitigation methods that we can take. We have to, I tell you something. We have to understand, as I said earlier, that when the weather gets to be a disaster, everyone will suffer. Everyone will suffer. It's not a matter of my house and his house, I don't care if him and the government will do it. That is not the case. Clean the drains in front of our homes, not clogging, not throwing stuff in the river. Very simple things that we can do. It may sound very simple. It may sound very, why is he saying that? Why is the Prime Minister saying that, not saying bigger things? Grander things are for different areas. Right now, as St. Lucians, there are some simple things we can do to mitigate about the weather systems. It's going to happen. We cannot stop it, but we can mitigate it.
And this may not be our only scare for the year. As you indicated, Prime Minister, we have to try to make it to November. And yes, some of those mitigating measures we can all take individually, keep our drains cleared, cut down the overhanging branches, and and we can always take measures to secure our properties, reinforcing our properties in different ways over time. Those are some of the ways the individuals, the households can prepare. I know for sure the government annually mobilizes machinery in advance of the start of the hurricane season to clear drainage. Did some of that happen over the weekend?
Yes, it's happening, but I'll tell you something. We're talking about mitigation. When you talk about mitigation, we need to talk about adaptation. And you may recall when we were building the Badawange Bridge. Remember the long discussion, the Badawange Bridge, the cost of the Badawange Bridge. And I was the Minister of Infrastructure at the time. And I was saying to the public of St. Lucia, this is adaptation. That you have to get a structure, the structures that we're going to build now,
climate resilient.
Must be climate resilient. They must be. And the Badawange Bridge is one of the first climate resilient structures in St. Lucia. It was. And it was built with that in mind. It costs what people thought was more than a normal bridge, but it's not a normal bridge. And I want to tell you that all government structures will be built with climate resilience in mind. The House of Justice are going to be built with climate resilience in mind. That's what's going to happen.
I think even the St. Jude Hospital.
The St. Jude Hospital. In fact, almost St. Jude Hospital. And it's a broader picture. The whole business of climate change and weather events. What we see now is a hurricane. It's a hurricane or storm, that's what we see now. But it's a broader picture. In terms of financing, we now have to look at how do we finance our development going forward with these things in mind. When I negotiated the Saudi loan, we ensured that there was a climate resilient clause. Very simple. In that, when there's a weather event, the loan will not be paid. We'll stop paying the loan. It'll be frozen at the point of start again. We have to begin to negotiate that. We have to begin to negotiate our vulnerabilities as a country, because the measure of national income as a measure for your country's development or growth pattern or the gross domestic product is no longer relevant. Because, let me say it again. Tomorrow morning, this morning we could have woke up with St. Lucia devastated. How would GDP come into play? Can't. What we need is vulnerability clauses. What we need is a new mode of financing. So this whole climate change situation, this whole hurricane is not as simple as it may look. But there are simple things that we can do to avoid the things that we will not be able to change. So it's a whole discussion, the whole region, and that would have been discussed that will continue to be discussed at the CARICOM Heads of Government Conference.
That would have been tomorrow, but it's postponed. Obviously.
It's postponed. We know because it's the things that's supposed to bother us in St. Lucia
must begin to bother us. We have to look at the broader picture. We can't be just myopic and look at the little things. We have to look at the broader picture. The broader picture is how do we finance our country's development? How do we finance the development of our infrastructure when the costs are going to go up? Because we have to ensure that we deal with the climate resilient issues. The costs will go up. Secondly, the lending agencies are not as sympathetic as they should be. Because using the measure of national income to measure growth, or national income to look at how you borrow money, is out. You can't you can't use national income. You have to talk about vulnerabilities. You have to talk about disaster clauses in loans. So it's a very complex picture. So the little myopic things that we did in the country and fight over and try to make to score points either is a bigger picture. And the country must know about that bigger picture. And let's get together to fight that bigger picture.
And what greater example than Hurricane Beryl, which moved from a tropical depression to a Category 4 hurricane in hours, a few days. Prime Minister, maybe you would have assessed Castries East. How did they fare? What was the preparations like for Castries East?
First of all, I want to tell my constituents that I have 16 other constituencies. I want to thank them for understanding our 16 other constituencies. This morning I passed through. I've been getting reports coming in, and I want to express my condolences to what happened in part of my constituency last evening. I want to express my deepest condolences. I know the person, and I don't know whether he deserved that what happened. But that's a bigger picture. There's not the time for it. So my constituency looks okay for now. There are areas that we have to deal with, especially the areas of Touge and that area, and you must know about the landslides in Maynard Hill, Pavi. So we are trying to again mitigate against these things, but I want to tell the people of my constituency, please, and they've been doing very well actually. I haven't seen anybody out.
Yes, that's always a major concern. Compliance, adherence to guidance, and even the chair, the Lieutenant Colonel Mr. Lake, indicated that compliance has been fairly well. St. Lucians have cooperated.
Very much so. Thank them for that.
There may have been some areas that can be improved where the shelters are concerned. I suppose you will be engaging with the relevant authorities to deal with some of the issues concerning the shelters. Yes. Some shelters who activated. Fortunately, everyone who needed to use those shelters safe and sound, as it is the case today.
And speaking about shelters, remember, NEMO, the director of NEMO is the one who determines. So when you talk about shelters, we have to call the director of NEMO and she'll get the direction.
The infrastructure ministry certifies and then
we go in. Because it's not a matter of just putting people in a shelter. There are many things that are dealing with a shelter. You have to deal with retrofitting the center for facilities. You have to deal with meals. You have to deal with being able to ensure that the center is properly clean. Security is important. You have to know who is going in, and so there are many things as relate to a center. But generally, we have to now we have to go into what did we do right and do it better, and where there were shortcomings, let us see if we can improve them. But generally, as I said, I think we handled it very well. There will never be a perfect situation. I always tell people all the time, there's never been a perfect situation. Never. St. Lucia's never, we can strive for perfection, but it's never been a perfect situation. And as you know, Riani, when I returned on Saturday to the country, Dr. Hiller had already called a meeting of the NEMAC. And then when I came, things were in train. Because we've got to make sure the system is working. I want to thank him for that, and the people who attended. I had my NEMAC meeting yesterday, and we dealt with it. So it's a cooperative business. We have to work together. Something we can't avoid, but we can mitigate against some of these.
We can't avoid, but increasingly it seems like the new normal will be intense hurricanes, stronger hurricanes, and possibly more frequent hurricanes.
Yeah. That's a word.
What needs to be done, in your view, to get St. Lucians, get the general public accustomed to this new normal? What more can be done? What more needs to be done?
Education, communication, education. And we have now to begin to speak the truth to people. You see, you have to begin to speak the truth to them. And once we speak the truth to them, let the chips fall where they be. But let's speak the truth to them. But primarily, my government's position, you have to make sure that the lives of people are not as safe as possible, particularly the vulnerable and the less fortunate. You have to take care of them.
All right.
But Rihanna, you've been doing a good job here. So again, I want to thank you and the team for what you do here.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We will take a break. The Prime Minister is with us, broadcasting live at the NEMO Secretariat as Hurricane Beryl continues to move through the Windward Islands. Some sad news, unfortunate news for the Grenadines and Grenada. It is a Category 4 strength and it's currently moving over Curaçao. So our thoughts and prayers go out to them. St. Lucia will remain under tropical storm warning until further notice. You are still advised, everyone at home is still advised to remain in place until the all clear is given. So we'll take a break. We'll come back with continuing coverage of Hurricane Watch. Stay with us.
We need to be together and support each other.
Stay safe. May God bless us. May God protect all of us.
We must pay special attention to our elderly, our sick, and our bedridden.
In times like this, let us show concern for each other and be each other's keeper.
It is at this time that our compassion, generosity, and love as a people must be extended to one another, particularly to the vulnerable.
Merci un peu pour rester. Puis nous, cette ici, nous ici, ça c'est station télévision NTN, et puis nous avons présenté information à cette situation mauvais temps, et bien cyclone Beryl qui pour le moment a une petite chance, mais bagala pour finir avec et puis en parole et puis Riani qui a parlé et puis Premier ministre ici situation mauvaise dans l'autre pays. Premier ministre qui a dit nous plus ça sur ça, et c'est raison qui fait moi bien content qui nous gagne un petit morceau par créole Premier ministre ici honorable Philippe J. Pierre et nous bien content moi savent où ça défraîchir créole assez bien et un des gens ici qu'au point ça qui a passé en langage là qu'on nous a dit en langue maman nous monsieur Premier ministre c'est où qui chef pays avec chef comité qui a managé situation désastre. Qui manage la situation il y a à présent?
Well, maybe dit aux gens ici bonjour, bon matin, mais voulez remercier vous. C'est moi là en NTN et GIS pour travailler là dans café. Dans café travail pour faire mon savent ça qu'a fait en pays. Ça c'est un bon travail. Mais oui, remercier tous ces monde là qui ont travaillé ici là à Nimo. M'a vécu nos personnes, mais là les monde qui ici pour toute la nuit, yo pas encore aller la caillou, yo ici à travail, ça qu'a fait, organisé, ça qu'a fait en pays et si on ça travail pas pour l'argent, nous pas ça payer pour ça. Et yo travail mais oui mais c'est avec des moins le gouvernement qui a puissé ça yo qu'a fait pour payer. Mais c'est police là, c'est fire service là. C'est mon là caravane fire service, c'est docteur, c'est nurse, mon qui travaille en l'hôpital et yo là, ces police là, ça qui était en vacances Yo prend vacances, yo ni pour venir travailler, yo ni pour quitter famille, yo ni caille tout, yo ni famille tout. Yo ka quitter, le ka venir, ka travailler pour gens saints ici. Merveille, remercier tous ces monde-là qui travaillent en ambulance, qui a sorti, qui est caillou, avec le travail. Il pas payé. Mais ces monde-là, nous pour dire un special merci pour. C'est ces monde-là qui travaillent en qui district committee. Ces monde-là volontaires qui travaillent en shelter, qui comme si dit, aller quitter caillou, et caillou des rois. Et que moun ça arrive moun pour porter en shelter. You got I mean you pas jeune paye. Ça est espoir Jean c'est ici. C'est ça nous besoin pays espoir. Et c'est l'amitié. So me ready ce monde là. Now we merci you. Et gouvernement et moi carrément merci you. Nous pas ça, nous pas ça faire si yo parti là c'est là qui travaille et puis moi nous pas la caillou nous en office secrétaire vous savez merci pour ça.
Oui, avec ou toujours dit vous savez moi l'amitié pour bailler tout cher pour aider moun en situation comme ça et plus bon aujourd'hui avec non c'était yo soit nous étant notre quatre en rapport au Gearbox et bien Davis Paul qui a et bien occupé quantité grand monde qui vulnérable quand il regarde monde qui pas ni capacité qu'on moi et puis et bien l'autre monde et il a occupé ces monde là et que toujours qu'à parler à ce manière monde supposé occuper monde qui pas ni capacité qu'on nous mène.
Oui, ça vrai. Mais vous savez ça m'avait aussi pour dire about camarade Deacon en Grenada. Oui. Bah pas bon pour your pièce pour Deacon et pour Comrade Ralph. Pour ces gens servent ça avec ces gens la Grenade ces gens Kairakou bagay la pas bon bio
you join toute force
et que faut que jeune il faut il a juste venir
continuer maltraiter
yes ça I mean ça c'est premier désastre Deacon ka jeune même comme moi c'est le premier gros désastre nous ka jeune so moi veut dire gens saint ici pour mettre en l'idée nous gagnons pour aider ce monde là nous gagnons pour aider parce que il faut qu'on finisse puis nous mais il semble et parler about ça mais veut dire Jean Célestin wéter la caillou pour actuellement pas les garder la mer ou pas un héros pas les garder même monde qui nager pas faire ça. Là où c'est pas ça sur télévision. C'est mon que ça c'est export. Ouais, you can ça sur télévision, Soufriere. Ça c'est export. Ça est monde qui fait ça pour la vie. Pas là. Pas mettre faire parce que ces monde là c'est pour les gens qui ont venir rescue. C'est nos là, c'est ambulance là, ou comme mettre en
oui, la vie en danger aussi. Avec aussi nous j'ai aussi tant rapport monsieur premier ministre qui en chaque c'est nous parler de à ça qui passe en Sainte-Lucie nous bien content yo copoé la pateni police même dit la pateni pièce 3K c'est c'est un comité des asla dit yo pas jeune pièce qualité 3K c'est il y a des petits problèmes ou ka joindre et puis peut-être courant mais généralement il passait bien.
Il passait bien avec mais ces gens se disent parce que c'est monde OK. Tout le monde a fait ça c'est monde. Mais nous savons là on déplace il y a pas courant. Là on déplace il y a des places chimère parce que tomber à ce chemin. Mais ça n'a remercié mon Dieu pour désastre nous très ça jeune nous pas jeunes mais ça pas mis rien mais ça a changé So, nous pas dire, non, espérer. Avec la maintenant, c'est mettre mon là, mais là, dans l'autre, Cavini. So, nous pas ça dit, tout va ok.
Mais qui bonnet en saison, il bonnet, nous en juin.
Nous en juin, et bien là, c'est novembre.
Oui.
Et nous avons une catégorie free, catégorie 4 en juin. Et nous avons mais ça fait un hurricane, ça là. Climate. Parti by ourselves. Ça va nous pour faire. Excellent, moi j'ai dit, nous pas pour une pièce politique à ça. Pièce politique. Nous pas pour jouer comme si nous avons fait faire dire là, faire un petit mensonge là pour je n'entends. Non. Parce que ça va tout le monde.
Affecté. Bob Marley dit ça, when the rain falls. It don't fall on one man's house. Exactement. Vous avez chanté?
It don't fall on
one man's house. Ou bon alors. Mais situation nous dit situation sérieuse avec maintenant nous t'ai parlé puis Riani ou t'ai conseillé un monde qui désastre naturel c'est un bagage nous toujours enceinte ici nous pour préparer pour être nous pour prendre en chaque précaution avec l'année où servir un mot nous qu'a dit en anglais mitigation measures ça c'est dire chaque bagage nous pas bon dire nous pas s'empêcher cyclone mais l'année on des bagages nous-mêmes ça fait pour baisser à sous quantité de dommages nous permis. Vous voulez parler à ça?
Petit bagaille
oui.
Canal là devant caillou nettoyer pas jeter bagaille en lavière pas jeter you can mettre fridge stove et you can mettre là parce que vous voulez faire gouvernement en bail.
À quoi nous appelons le gouvernement?
Si bagaille où ça fait, Zodi ou pas jeter Zodi en canal et bien jeter Zodi en lavia. À ce roof, il y a un petit guttering.
Gouttière.
Et dans le gouttière, il y a un tank. So, c'est water.
Exactement.
Ou quand ça veut bien se passer, on chaque doigt là, qu'à descendre en foundation là.
Avec cas dommagé.
Et pas caille là. Mettez à la caillou, et vous criez, c'est petit bail. Nous pas ça.
Et pas espérer à ce gouvernement. Ça n'y fait un des petits bagages pour sauver corps.
Sans gouvernement,
propriétaire.
Le gouvernement qui a fait ces gros bagages là. Moi, ça sauté quand on a le bois d'orange bridge là. Autant de gros sur bois d'orange, autant de bois d'orange. Là, nous avons fait moitié ministre infrastructure. Là, nous avons fait bois d'orange bridge là. Il y a pas ça ça bois d'orange bridge là, c'est un climate resilient bridge. Et tout cosmo, il y a pipi là, mais c'est un climate resilient structure. Parce que nous devons faire, soit assurer, nous qualité mauvais temps ça là, il pas de tomber. Et nous faisons ça et il a tout l'autre building gouvernement qui fait et qui n'est pas climate resilient. House of Justice là, qui est climate resilient. Parce que il y a ce type là. Mais vous avez climate change là, c'est pas un petit bail, ça c'est un gros bagage worldwide. Nous avons prêté l'argent, nous avons dire faire un bagage pour climate change. Like St. Jude Hospital, les moyens négocier de l'eau là pour St. Jude Hospital, même pour mettre en clause. So si nous avons mauvais temps comme ça, nous pas nous pour payer. Non, ça c'est un gros bagage. So petit politique, nous ne pouvons garder gros portrait. Mauvais temps, là pour rester. C'est gros pays, c'est eux qui créent mauvais temps. Et puis ou pas faire ça ni pour faire.
C'est nous qui a souffert.
Mais ça la terre.
C'est comme ça. Mais monsieur, quand on dit ça, moi de Kakachile yos fait, on dit nous on est fini dépenser quantité d'argent à on dit place qu'on Saint Jude ou dit nous qu'a fait climate resilience, ça veut dire pour faire plus fort et bien du bout de compte c'est bah ça
compte ça nous qu'a fait bah c'est police là
exactement. Mais est-ce là ni insurance associé bah ça là pour dire si un cas bagaille comme ça fait pour nous rendre l'argent nous vieux
bah regardez jamais ça Outerbourg qui n'est tellement sévère ça
non il a Kakachile
mal quoi sous Katan premier ministre Babad il toujours qu'à parler about insurance. Vous savez, l'année pays en USA, insurance company nous parlent, So, I mean, ça va nous pas quoi insurance. Insurance quand monter et l'ancien il passe ça faire insurance. So, insurance, you know, ça va mettez oublier moi je parler by Riani, timidement en anglais. The costs of insurance are increasing because of the high risk that these islands face because of climate change. So that is another consequence of climate change. The cost of insurance, house insurance, particularly property insurance. That's another cost.
Ok, monsieur le ministre, nous n'y pouvons aller vite, mais moi, il y a une question qui est en tête sévèrement là. Il y a un monde dit plus mauvais bail qui fait Sainte-Lucie, particulièrement tant comme ça, c'est Radio Sainte-Lucie qui parle là.
Ça va tout le monde a dit. Nous savons le gouvernement qui négocie pour porter Radio Sainte-Lucie. Oui, il y a tenu un trial. Mais ça va nous travailler sur. Mais je pense que c'est ready dit yo. Mais c'est mon là, mais nous voulons nous commenter radio c'est Lucia, mais là on cherche l'autre station qui a travaillé. Il va faire il va faire bail.
Habituons cela. Mais je dis merci un peu, monsieur le Premier ministre, nous apprécions tout le temps fait et puis nous pour nous information avec moi que c'est information Jean Sainte-Lucie mérité en temps ça là mais nous avons dit merci bon Dieu qui nous pas clair fini à clair mais nous pouvons sauver teasing nous pouvons clair.
Bah ça a changé.
Il a changé.
Mais sous pas ni pour sortir, pas sortir.
Et que l'année l'autre cas vient toujours. Ok, merci un peu. Sainte-Lucie, nous nous informer à cette situation en mauvais temps en Beryl avec nous prendre une pause à présent et que nous dévirer nous avons plus d'informations à ce ça qui a passé.
We need to be together and support each other.
Stay safe. May God bless us. May God protect all of us.
We must pay special attention to our elderly, our sick, and our bedridden.
In times like this, let us show concern for each other and be each other's keeper.
It is at this time that our compassion, generosity, and love as a people must be extended to one another, particularly to the vulnerable.
One of the most dangerous parts of a hurricane is storm surge. What is storm surge, you ask? Storm surge is what happens when the winds of a coastal storm push water onto land. In addition, large and destructive waves ride in on the top of the surge. These water surges then wreak havoc and can cause major damage and flooding many miles from the storm. Not limited to coastal properties, storm surges from seawater traveling up streams and rivers can flood inland homes too. And is it strong? Able to carry away cars and demolish entire communities. Storm surge is what officials use when determining who to evacuate. Once water starts to rise, the destructive rush can quickly cover a lot of ground: homes, cars, people, pets. If you get anything from this video, let it be this. When officials say it is time to evacuate, go. Don't fall victim to storm surge.
We need to be together and support each other.
Stay safe. May God bless us. May God protect all of us.
We must pay special attention to our elderly, our sick, and our bedridden.
In times like this, let us show concern for each other and be each other's keeper.
It is at this time that our compassion, generosity, and love as a people must be extended to one another, particularly to the vulnerable.
Welcome back to Hurricane Watch. My name is Rihani Isidore. The broadcast is continuing. We just heard from the Prime Minister. And of course, we'd like to just bring you up to speed on where things stand as it relates to the passage of Hurricane Beryl. St. Lucia is no longer on a hurricane warning. We're now on a tropical storm warning. Hurricane conditions still loom, still persist in our general area as Hurricane Beryl moves through the Windward Islands. Joining me on set during this live broadcast is DCP Ronald Phillip. Mr. Phillip, it would have been a long weekend, I imagine, for you and your brothers and sisters in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. How are you feeling, sir?
That's good. Good morning. I'm feeling fine. Let me wish St. Lucia a good morning and a blessed. What is Monday?
Is it still morning? It's been such a long time. It's probably afternoon by now. Just getting right into it, Ronald. The Prime Minister on Saturday announced there would have been a national shutdown. It's still in effect. It's in effect as of 8:30 Sunday. Still in effect right now. For sure, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is crucial in ensuring these protocols, these guidances are enforced. What was it like upon the announcement of the national shutdown for the police force?
Well, we have been preparing for the possibility of a hurricane, and we had to put some plans in place, contingency in terms of how we're going to respond if needs be. You would have heard that the Commissioner of Police took the right decision in the cancellation of leave of all police officers. Commissioner would have been at NIM headquarters, and I would have been the officer on the ground, basically monitoring the situation and providing updates to her in the event that anything happened or required.
Now, as it relates, you being on the ground, you're in touch with other officers who are on the ground. As it relates to just the passage of the system through our area, are you aware of any reports, disturbances, issues with that?
Okay,
or where that is concerned?
Well, we know normally during times of disasters, hurricanes, that's where sometimes criminals use this opportunity to go and loot and still burglarize person stores. I can report to the St. Lucia public that I spoke with the officer in charge of Southern Division, ACP Shalry. There were no such reports for Gros Islet and Castries. There were no such reports of any burglary or of that sort. So in terms of crime-wise, last night it was a very good night for the police for the police force. In terms of our infrastructure, we could move to our infrastructure. There were no reported damages except today the jetty that would service the marine unit in Viewfort is completely washed away. That jetty is a wooden jetty. That jetty is about 22 years old. So
it was already deteriorating?
Yeah, it was already deteriorating, but with the passage of
the hurricane,
it would have destroyed that jetty completely. Right. So I know that is a project we will be looking forward to, because this jetty is essential in meeting the needs of our marine base in the south.
Well, let's talk more about that. Is the Marine unit in that southern area encumbered in any way? How is that going to affect operations?
No, it's not going to affect operations. It's not going to affect our operations because Marine, we have two bases. We have two bases. We have a base in Castries we could operate from, but it again with the jetty, it would allow for a more speedy. It would allow for a more speedy response. And because we have SSU and Marine located in the same compound, the compressors for the air condition units by the SSU building were also damaged. So that's really the major infrastructure damage or loss we would have suffered as a result of the passage of Beryl.
What kind of feedback are you getting in terms of, as it relates to the public compliance with some of the protocols?
Well, I must say, I'm not sure, but over the years we have seen a greater awareness by the Central public. I can tell you, last night in the city, we stayed in the city all through the night. The public, they were very, very, very compliant with the police officers. I am not sure of, there were no reported issues or any confrontation between the public and the police last night. And persons generally were compliant, and this occurs well for us as a police organization, as a country. It shows that now persons are starting to take natural disasters and hurricanes a bit more serious.
Okay, and in the event, I mean, natural disasters occur, however, life still occurs. Crime requires opportunity to thrive and persist. How does the Royal St. Lucia Police Force manage the passage of a hurricane, for example, and maybe having to respond to an emergency?
Well, I could tell you, throughout the island, we had response teams to deal with specifically to deal with responses of any. So if there was any situation that developed, we had response teams in the south, the west, the north, and the central division of the island. So it is a case where we were adequately prepared to deal with any eventualities.
And not stretch in any way. And in terms of the preparation, obviously heading into this weekend, everything was tip-top?
Everything was tip-top. As if anything, as a storm approaches, you'll always have some minor issues here and there. But the thing is, we have an admin officer, we have an executive that is quite fluid, and there are systems to mitigate against any eventualities.
Now, the Prime Minister, as National Security Minister, would have allocated a number of new mobile resources, mobile assets, ground assets. Did any of them come into play in assisting with the operational responses or the efficiency over the weekend?
Well, it's obvious because we have more new assets. It would have helped. It would have been a little easier for us last night because the country was basically in shutdown mode, which means that more of our resources could have been geared towards policing. So, like I said to you last night, we had very few, almost minimal disturbances. So this is good.
Once that storm clears and the all clear is given, what happens with the structure, the setup with the police?
Okay, so even if the all clear is given, again, we have three divisions. So the divisional commanders, even if the all clear is given, will make a determination as to how they dispatch of the resources. So an all clear given does not mean that automatically leave is no longer cancelled. So leave is cancelled, and the divisional commanders through the commissioner will determine how best to phase out the officers, because some of them you will still need to police the police station, but you also need to allow persons to go home to their families and manage it. So there'll be a smooth transition. I don't see any disruption in our police operations.
That seems very strategic, making sure that you don't just you just release officers. That's very strategic. But you know, police officers are people too. They have families too. Leave is cancelled. A storm is coming, and they leave home, right, to man their stations, man their desks. So I mean, for sure, I mean, the high command of the police force must commend officers for making that selfless sacrifice.
Right, and that's quite commendable on behalf of the police officers, on behalf of my colleagues. You see, a lot of persons see this policing thing, but they don't understand that it is really a call of service, a call for service to country, which is quite important. That notwithstanding at situations like this, where we need to come together and ensure that we deliver an enhanced policing product. Again, I want to thank the officers who came out, and I know we have officers on medical leave. Even if they could not report in, they would still offer their support. I know officers at the home. I know officers stayed home and were feeding officers at stations. You know, so again, it is just everybody playing their part to form a bigger picture. Yes.
All hands on deck. This is Hurricane Watch. We are continuing to monitor Hurricane Beryl as it moves through our region. St. Lucia is still on a tropical storm warning. We'll continue providing you with the updates as they come. We will take a short break. to take in some of these messages as it relates to tropical storm, Hurricane Beryl, I beg your pardon. Stay tuned.
We need to be together and support each other.
Stay safe. May God bless us. May God protect all of us.
We must pay special attention to our elderly, our sick, and our bedridden.
In times like this, let us show concern for each other and be each other's keeper.
It is at this time that our compassion, generosity, and love as a people must be extended to one another, particularly to the vulnerable.
One of the most dangerous parts of a hurricane is storm surge. What is storm surge, you ask? Storm surge is what happens when the winds of a coastal storm push water onto land. In addition, large and destructive waves ride in on the top of the surge. These water surges then wreak havoc and can cause major damage and flooding many miles from the storm. Not limited to coastal properties, storm surges from seawater traveling up streams and rivers can flood inland homes too. And is it strong? Able to carry away cars and demolish entire communities. Storm surge is what officials use when determining who to evacuate. Once water starts to rise, the destructive rush can quickly cover a lot of ground: homes, cars, people, pets. If you get anything from this video, let it be this. When officials say it is time to evacuate, go. Don't fall victim to storm surge. One of the most dangerous parts of a hurricane.
Natural disasters happen and impact your home, family and pets. But there are many things you can do to lessen the impacts. The Kalui family knows all about being prepared. They've prepared a household emergency plan, have an emergency kit with food, water, medication and spare clothes, have an emergency contact list, know how to turn off the water, power and gas, have and can use a fire extinguisher. They've taken out insurance and checked that it covers flooding, fire damage and storm damage. And they've stored important documents. They've also prepared their home, cleared the gutters and checked the roofing, trimmed branches and removed leaf litter, firewood and fuel containers. Next door, Mr. Jones lives with his cat, Meow. The Kalui family asked Mr. Jones if he'd like some help getting prepared for possible severe weather.
Can I help you get prepared for a disaster?
Maybe another day.
Warning, heavy rain and strong winds are on the way.
It's me, Sheldon, Mr. Baldwin.
We better tie down the loose items.
Don't forget Yap.
I better check on Mr. Jones. The Logan Early Warning app has sent an alert. A severe storm is headed our way.
Doesn't look like it'll rain too much. I'm busy watching my favourite show right now.
Will our trampoline be okay, Dad?
Yes, I've tied it down so it won't blow away.
Meow! Meow!
Reports are suggesting that the worst of the storm has moved out to sea. Residents are advised to stay safe and inside where possible.
Mr. Jones, are you okay?
I can't find Meow.
Why don't you come next door and join us?
After the storm passes, it's time to help each other clean up. Remember, when you're collecting debris, watch out for snakes and spiders. Don't touch the fallen power lines. Make sure you record damage for insurance purposes. Mr. Jones is sure he will be better prepared next time.
It pays to be prepared.
We need to be together and support each other.
Stay safe. May God bless us. May God protect all of us.
We must pay special attention to our elderly, our sick, and our bedridden.
In times like this, let us show concern for each other and be each other's keeper.
It is at this time that our compassion, generosity, and love as a people must be extended to one another, particularly to the vulnerable.
Let's go. Welcome back to Hurricane Watch. My name is Rihani Isidore. Thank you for staying with us. It's been a long few hours, maybe even days now. Hurricane Beryl moved from a tropical depression on June 28th to a Category 4 storm as recently as yesterday, to a Category 3, and now back to a Category 4, affecting the Windward Islands, Curacao, Grenadines, Grenada as we speak. The situation where St. Lucia is concerned has changed in the last few hours, and to discuss and review some of those changes, joining me once again during this marathon of a broadcast, Vigil Saltibus, the meteorologist here with us at the NEMO Secretariat. It feels like we're on the last lap.
Okay.
Tell me, what is new? What is different? We know there's the tropical warning still in effect for St. Lucia, but
Yes.
what has changed over the last few hours?
Okay, over the last few hours, we've had 1, 2, 3 updates. I will mainly discuss the last 2 updates. The last 2 updates was the one issued at 11 a.m. this morning. Hurricane Beryl was located 12.4 north or 61.3 degrees west, or about 35 miles or 55 kilometers northeast of Grenada. It is 15 miles or 25 kilometers east-southeast of Carriacou Island. The maximum sustained winds were 140 miles per hour or 220 kilometers per hour, and that puts it at a Category 4 hurricane.
That sounds dangerous for the people in the pathway.
Yes, it is very dangerous.
But in relation to St. Lucia, how far away is it, or how much of that Category 4 effect might we feel at this juncture?
Okay, St. Lucia is 84 miles or 155 kilometers away from the system, from the center of the system, and we are still within the tropical storm force winds of Hurricane Beryl, and we are still under tropical warning. However, as of 12 noon today, NHC immediately issued a new update, which is unusual. The next update was supposed to have been at 1 p.m. but they had to do an immediate update, and so as of 12 noon, the previous position has now been changed to 12.5 north, 61.7 degrees west, or about 87 or 161 kilometers southeast of St. Lucia.
What kind of movement is that? Did it track further upwards? Which direction?
Its movement is west-northwest.
West-northwest.
At about 20 miles per hour or 31 kilometers per hour. The other change that was significant that caused NHC to issue this update was Hurricane Beryl further Grenada itself, wind speeds increased to about 150 miles per hour.
150?
Yes.
Is that category 5 strength? Or approaching?
Not very close to a category 5 system. Category 5 system starts at wind speeds of 157 miles per hour.
So it's not too far off?
Not too far off, about 7 miles per hour is the difference.
And I stand to be corrected, but is category 5 the strongest?
Category 5 is the strongest because once you hit category 5 and you hit 157 miles per hour winds, there is no other figures after that on any chart. So whatever winds occur after that is always a category.
How unusual is it for a near category 5 storm to form in this part of our region?
It's not unusual. We've had Maria and Irma that struck, unfortunately, Dominica, our sister island. And that was, refresh my memory, 2015, 2016 or thereabouts. And it was very catastrophic. With Hurricane Beryl, it has latest satellite imagery has shown that the center has passed over the southern Grenadines, but they still are under the effects of the hurricane force winds. For St. Lucia, however, we remain in a tropical storm field, storm force winds field, and we still expect heavy rains from time to time. We expect gusts with those heavy showers, and the seas will remain rough. Persons are advised to remain on shore, stay at your home, do not venture out to sea. Doesn't matter if the sea looks very rough and looks very interesting, please stay at home until the all clear is given by NEMO.
I mean, there must be some tired viewers out there, St. Lucians, people, the public who want to sort of get back to normal daily life. Can you? Is it practical at this juncture to provide an indication as to when, as to is development, is positive development, is a clearing of the weather likely?
Yes, we do not expect Hurricane Beryl to linger. It's moving away. It's already crossed the southern Windward Islands. It is now in the Caribbean Sea. It's continuing to move west-northwest, and that means it's moving away from us.
Moving away.
Once it's crossed the islands, that means it's in the Caribbean Sea. It's present. The current projection of its path is anticipated to move towards Jamaica side.
Jamaica, okay.
But I'm not saying going for Jamaica, but that's along the path.
It's heading in that direction.
In that direction.
So St. Lucians must still adhere to the existing guidelines.
Yes.
Remain indoors.
Yes.
We're still under tropical storm warning.
Yes.
Tropical storm, hurricane conditions can affect us at least for the next couple of hours.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, all right.
This afternoon.
That was the latest weather report as it relates to St. Lucia and Hurricane Beryl, now dangerously close to Category 5 strength as it moved over the Grenadines and Grenada. Stay with the broadcast. We will be right back with more on Hurricane Watch.
We need to be together and support each other.
Stay safe. May God bless us. May God protect all of us.
We must pay special attention to our elderly, our sick, and our bedridden.
In times like this, let us show concern for each other and be each other's keeper.
It is at this time that our compassion, generosity, and love as a people must be extended to one another, particularly to the vulnerable. We need to be together and support each other.
Stay safe. May God bless us. May God protect all of us.
We must pay special attention to our elderly, our sick, and our bedridden.
In times like this, let us show concern for each other and be each other's keeper.
It is at this time that our compassion, generosity, and love as a people must be extended to one another, particularly to the vulnerable.
Welcome back to Hurricane Watch. Rihanni Isidore alongside Michael Gasper. Michael, yeah, we've received updates from just about every official here at the NEMO Secretariat, as well as District Disaster Committee officials, an all-around comprehensive package of information and updates on St. Lucia and our preparedness.
Oui, Rihanni, nous bien contents que nous joignent information tout partout. Nous sommes Premier ministre, nous avons Premier ministre puisque c'est lui qui a tout le monde qui a joint information avec Premier ministre puisque nous voulons parler puis bonheur, mais comme un homme qui toujours voulait assurer tout le bagage aller bien, il voulait joindre information avant avec il dit nous exactement manière concernée avec manière tout le bagage passé avec bien content que Saint-Lucien coopéré et remercier tous ces travailleurs et puis nous bien content que Premier ministre dit comme que la rapport regardé belle nous ou t'es parlé puis ça c'est assistant commissioner
DCP, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Ronald Phillip.
Il aussi parlé puis dit la partie une pièce problème mais celle ça il dit qu'il va apporter c'est en jetty sud pays.
Up this 6-hour marathon. We hope to join you again at the appropriate time later this evening, where we will try to provide you with the update as it relates to Hurricane Beryl. Casper, the next time we come back live on Hurricane Watch, we hope to tell St. Lucian that the all clear is given, right?
Je peux espérer ça, puisque moi-même aussi, ni en la famille, moi-même, mais quand même, nous bien capables de nous pas contents pour présenter l'information. Ça là, c'est plaisir nous pour avoir l'information. Ça, et nous contents qui tout rapport nous joignent, qui Saint-Lucien manager bien avec les côtés question nous bail conseil avec toutes ces différences alors nous avons dit merci un peu pour coopération avec Rihanni nous avons défié en l'autre pour ça avec exactement combien de temps mais nous avons supposé que les nous défier nous avons ça fini programs that are.
Yeah, and Gaspar, as you was explaining, I was signaled by the producers in the background that we've been on 8 hours, closer to 8 hours, a full shift. Okay, so at this juncture, before we sign off for this portion of the broadcast, we want to thank the people who made this possible. Of course, those are the individuals at the NTNGIS, the Director of Information Service, Mrs. Vernette Sentoma Fontenelle, the man at the control, Mr. Roger Varo Lawrence, yourself, of course, Michael Gasper, thank you, Scotty.P, who started the broadcast with you yesterday, Vernon Jordana John, Vernon Jean, the officials here at NEMO, the NEMAC, they hunkered down, they burned the midnight oil, they're still awake, we're all still awake, we're still going. Thank you all to the DDCs who called in, to the viewers who stayed with us these past 8 hours. It's been a long day. We still have some further to go, but I think based on the meteorologist, Mrs. Saltibus's forecasting, it seems we're heading towards the clear. St. Lucia, we once again want to thank you for your patience. Thank you for your adherence. Continue to follow the guidelines. And Gasper, we will be back with Hurricane Watch later today.
Avant d'aller, tu m'as dit merci pour rien.
Thank you, Gasper.
D'accord. All right.
See you later.
We need to be together and support each other.
Stay safe. May God bless us. May God protect all of us.
We must pay special attention to our elderly, our sick, and our bedridden.
In times like this, let us show concern for each other and be each other's keeper.
It is at this time that our compassion, generosity, and love as a people must be extended to one another, particularly to the vulnerable.
When the waves swell, the wind blows, and rain starts to pour, you'll ask yourself, how prepared or unprepared are you? Did you board your windows? Protect your home? Secure loose objects so they won't blow away. Bring large items in and low items up. If you're properly prepared, it will help in a big way. Does your family have a plan? Do they know what to do? Is your emergency kit packed, waiting by the door for you? Just because you're not on the coast doesn't mean you're okay. Heavy winds and flooding can wash things away. When a hurricane is near, you need to stay safe. Turn on the radio. Wait for updates. Only leave your home if told so. Grab your bag and go, go, go. Now, if you're home and the heavy wind blows, get away from the windows, watch out for flooding, and protect yourself. You may be without power for a couple days, but your emergency kit should help you to stay. Once the storm is gone and it's safe to go home, be cautious of what's going on. If water's in your path, you have to turn back. Dangerous electricity and things you can't see can hurt you very badly. So before the waves swell, the wind blows, and rain starts to pour, get prepared, make a plan, and protect yourself each and every way.